Hello, everyone.
How are you, Rabbi?
How's it, Janet? How are you?
Baruch Hashem, and you?
Baruch Hashem. Good. How are you all?
Mr. Iskavetnik in UK and Ireland.
Landman.
Oh, wow. Are you all good?
Then there's Joseph, whose spouse is Rebecca.
And there's a Moshe. Dad, Moshe. Mowsche.
Then Solomon Kabatsnik, whose spouse Sarah Smilovich.
That's her. Oh.
That's right. That was Mr. Malavi. That's her.
Then there's Sarah Kabatsnik.
That's Grandpa Joe's lineage.
I know. Well, here you go.
Is she?
I mean, this is what I
Where
thought.
you see
Is everyone here?
does it say how these people are related to each other?
Who's
So
with
who's
us? Look. Let's just look who's with.
Shalom Rav, how are you?
Hello, Dr. Liz. How's it?
Thank you for sending me the link. It's so much easier when you send the link.
Yeah.
Hello, Rav.
I also sent you a voice. Did you hear it today?
No, I haven't. I've been so busy, but
Just look at about what we discussed on Friday.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Otherwise, how's everyone, guys?
All good.
Rav, how are you, Rav?
Baruch Hashem. How are you all? How are you keeping? How are you doing?
Everything good.
Good. I'm happy to hear. Let's just give more people to join us. And before we start the show, we have another few seconds. Just before we start the show, I just wanted to ask, how did you find Thursday night show? I hope that you didn't find it too heavy, guys.
It was brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Good.
You're a genius.
Not heavy at all. Not heavy at all.
Good. As long that you enjoy it. I was worried if it might going to be too heavy because we done a bit of, we gone through the Pardes, Pshat, Remes, Drash, Sod. So I just want to make sure that it's not heavy. Okay, so what are we going to speak today, Rabotai? We're going to speak about Shatnez. Let's see what we know about the prohibition of Shatnez. Where's the source for it? Why are we not allowed to wear Shatnez? And what is Shatnez? We're going to explain Be'ezrat Hashem all of those. We'll try to learn together tonight what is Shatnez. So Be'ezrat Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach v'Hashem aleinu berachamav yarviach. I'm just going to mute everyone if you don't mind so I can focus. Asher yeh le'ilun nishmat Arav Avraham Haim ben Eliezer Yaakov le'ilun nishmat Esther Kaden bat Ketzia לעילוי נשמת מרדכי בן רחמה ואסתר בת משה הלוי ולרפואת כל חולי ופצועי עמו ישראל ובכללם גולדה איטור בת שולמית לאה, ליאורה בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פרחה ושאר כל חולי עמו ישראל בכל מקום שבעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח והשם עלינו ברחמה והרביע. So we said that the subject of the shi'ur today is actually Shatnez. What is Shatnez? What do we know about Shatnez? So first of all, I'm going to start from the beginning. Where is the source that we're learning that we're not allowed to wear Shatnez? So the source is in two places in the Torah. The one is in Sefer Vayikra. In Sefer Vayikra in Parashat Kedoshim in chapter 19 verse 19. The Torah tells us like this: Et chukotai tishmoru, my law you should keep. Behematcha lo tarbiya, kil'ayin, satcha lo tizra' kil'ayin, ubeget kil'ayin shatnez lo ya'ale alecha. So from here we learn that a person is not allowed to wear a clothes that made from Shatnez. We'll explain just now what is Shatnez. The second source appear in Sefer Dvarim in Parashat Kititze in chapter 22 verse 11. There the Torah tells us, Lo tilbash Shatnez tzemer upishtim yahdav. So here the Torah tells us specifically that wool and linen, that's considered as Shatnez, and we're not allowed to wear it. And we'll see what is wool, what kind of wool we're not allowed, and what is pishtan. Okay, That means, what is linen? Okay. So first of all, now that we understand that, where is the source for that prohibition, the next thing that we have to understand, why are we not allowed? Why is it so? Before we start, you know what, maybe before we start why we're not allowed, we have to understand the strictness of it. Okay, so Hazal in the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, in page 69, folio 1, Hazal tell us that the person that's sitting on 10 cushion, listen to that, and underneath that there is wool and linen together, Shatnez, okay, is not allowed to sit on those top 10 cushion that on top of the Shatnez. Not only that, Hazal continue and say that the person not only that not allowed to sit on top of Shatnez, Hazal tell us that the person not allowed to cover himself, okay, to get warm with something that have Shatnez inside. So we see from here, number one, there is a prohibition to wear Shatnez. Number two, not to sit on top of Shatnez. Number three, not to cover yourself with Shatnez. Okay, let's continue and see. Hazal in the Gemara Masechet Brachot tell us, in page 19, folio 2, that the person that walk in a public domain, in the Gemara they say bashuk. Bashuk, it means in a market, in a public domain, that is many people. And suddenly he realized that he wearing Shatnez, he obligated to take off his clothes, okay, in a public domain. That means if he found that his trouser or his shirt or his jacket, whatever he wear, or his shirt, he obligated to take off that clothes that made from Shatnez, even in public domain. Let's continue and see what the latest Rabbonim say. The latest Rabbonim say like this. The latest Rabbonim say like Rabbi Yecheskel Landa. Rabbi Yecheskel Landa, born in Poland 308 years ago. And he wrote the famous book, the Tzalah. Tzalah, it means Tziyun Lenefesh Haya. What it means, Tziyun Lenefesh Haya? That's a book that's been written, as I mentioned, by Rabbi Yecheskel Landa. And in his book, he say that the person that wear Shatnez, even for one day, even by mistake, okay, that person, listen to that, that person, his prayer cannot be answered for 40 days after that. That means a person that wears Shatnez, okay, he's davening, he's praying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, cannot be answered and cannot be accepted in heaven. We can see the strictness, the severe strictness of Shatnez. The Rambam, the famous Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, he born in the city of Cordova 886 years ago in Spain. And he wrote in Ilchot Kilaim, in the law of Kilaim, in chapter 10, verse 29, okay, and by the way, also the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch is Rabbi Yosef Karo. Rabbi Yosef Karo born in the city of Toledo in Spain 532 years ago. And the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo, paskin according to the Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. And he said like this in verse 303. That means Siman Shin Gimel. And he said like this, Haro'eh et havero, a person that see his friend, ויודע שלובד בגד העשוי משעת נז, that means צמר ופשתים, I'm going to translate it now, יחדיו צריך לקרוע את בגדיו מעליו, ואפילו הוא נמצא בשוק. I'll explain. The Rambam, and that's how the Marana Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo Paskin, that if a person sees fellow friend in public domain, in a market, wearing clothes that made from Shatnez, he's obligated, okay, to tell him that he's wearing Shatnez. And if his fellow friend don't want to take it off, he's obligated to tear his clothes in a public domain. That means that we not worry here about embarrassment. That means that the strictness and for the prohibition of Shatnez, it's more than Chas v'Shalom le'alpim bnei havero barabim. That from here you learn that the strictness of Shatnez is very severe. Let's see what the Shalah HaKadosh say. A Shalah HaKadosh, it's Rabbi Yeshua Levy Horowitz. He born in the city of Prague in the Czech Republic 464 years ago. And he said like this: a person that wears Shatnez, listen to his word, mesalek me'alav et rahamav shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means that he caused the mercy and compassion of the Almighty, that he push it away. He get rid of it. Not only that, listen what he said, ve'me'orera alav kochot hara'im. That means he bringing on himself the evil forces. A person that wears Shatnez, basically saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't want your compassion, Chas v'Shalom. I don't want your mercy. Instead, he bringing on himself the evil forces. So we see here the severe strictness of Shatnez. Now, before I continue, I would like just to explain the prohibition. The prohibition is Shatnez, it's dafka, it's mainly when that's kind of a wool made from tzemer rehilim. Tzemer rehilim, that means it's a wool that been made from sheep, and not what we call it today, Kashmir or Angora, or the wool of a camel, for example. No, it has to be a wool of a sheep. And pishtan, what is pishtan? Pishtan have to be made dafka from what grow up from the ground, and we'll get to it. If you look carefully, one is animal, one is the ground, and it mustn't be a canvas or anything like that. It has to be linen that grow from the ground. So now, before I continue, if anyone has any question, it's the time now to ask any question before I will explain why not. Any question? No question, okay. I just would like to take the opportunity. I see that my cousin, my little cousin, Tzurit, join us on the air to see the shiur. So Tzuriti, thank you very much for joining us. Just to give you a bit of a background about Tzuriti, Tzuriti was my little sister. She's my cousin, but I looked after her when she was a little school. When she was at school, well, we was at school together. So on Friday we spoke and I given her the link. She asked to see the link and she's gonna join us. So Tzuriti, thank you for joining us. Yisher koach. Let's continue. I see that there is no question. So now that we explain the severe and we understand how important is it and why we're not allowed to wear Shatnez, we have to understand why not. Why are we not allowed to wear Shatnez? So if we're going according to the Pshat, what Hazal tell us, so we know that the simple reason is et chukotai tishmoru. According to the Pshat of the Dvarim, it's the law of the Torah, and that's what we must keep. The Torah tells us, there's no question. No, but Hazal also explain. And you remember on Thursday night, we explained why is the letters Bet have 3 places that it's blocked and 1 place that it's open. That means to tell us that we're not allowed to ask what was before the creation, what there is up in heaven, and what there is down underneath the earth. But from the day of the creation onwards, we're allowed to ask. So therefore, we'll see how Hazal, our sages, explain, okay, why are we not allowed to wear Shatnez? So we'll start with the Zohar HaKadosh. Like I explained many times, the Zohar HaKadosh been written by Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba was the student of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and he explained like this. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and the Zohar explained something extraordinary. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai explained that the main reason is that when you put wool and linen together, you're actually joining 2 different forces. And what is the force? The force number 1 is the character trait of mercy and compassion. The other character trait that we're joining is the character trait of judgment. Therefore, said the Zohar HaKadosh, you're not allowed to take them both and to join them together. And we'll see just now why. By the way, according to the Kabbalistic, the mystical rabbi, I saw that, if I'm not mistaken, is in Sha'ar HaKavanot, that I saw many people joining the finger like this. And Hazal explained that the left is judgment, while the right is mercy. We're not allowed to do it. That's Kabbalistic. For those of you just want to know, so we're not allowed to do it because we again joining the forces one against each other. That means the compassion and mercy against the character trait of judgment. Okay, so that's remember, that's the Zohar HaKadosh. The Rambam, Rami Moshe ben Maimon, he wrote in his book, the Moreh Nevuchim, the guide for the perplexed, in chapter 3, Halek Gimel, that chapter 3, at verse 37, he explained, you know why you're not allowed to wear Shatnez? And he said like this, because that was how in the olden days of the Avodah Zarah used to wear. What does it mean? Those that used to worship idols used to wear those clothes. And we'll explain now what is the Rambam trying to say. So the Rambam tells us that the main reason that we're not allowed to wear Shatnez in Moreh Nevuchim, why? Because the priest and those that used to worship idol, the idol priest, used to wear it. And we'll see now. The Hiskuni is Rabbi Hiskiyahu ben Menachem. He born in France 771 years ago. In his commentary on the Torah, in Sefer Vayikra, in Parashat Kedoshim, chapter 19, verse 19, there he explained, you know why we're not allowed to wear Shatnez? Because a person that wears Shatnez is like using Sharvito Shel Melech. Sharvito Shel Melech is a specter. And he said, by that you're wearing Shatnez, you're like using the specter of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you know why? He said, because the priests, the Kohanim and Bet HaMikdash, they used to wear Shatnez. And now the Hiskuni explain what the Rambam tried to tell us. That means that we're not allowed to wear Shatnez according to the Rambam. You know why? Because that's how you used to, all the people that used to worship idol, that's what they used to wear. In that case, you're not allowed to follow the law. Come the Hiskuni and explain, you know why? Because who used to wear that beautiful clothes? The Kohanim. And the Kohanim used to mix linen and wool together. Now you're going to ask me why. If the Torah tells us a prohibition, it's a negative command from the Torah. How come that you see that suddenly the Kohanim allowed? So the job of the Kohanim was to bring Shalom Ba'olam, to bring peace to the world. Bet HaMikdash was his job to bring peace to the world. The job of the Kohanim, in their merit, they can turn the character trait of judgment to character trait of mercy and compassion. Okay, now Ba'alei HaTosfot. I'm going to bring another opinion why we're not allowed to wear Shatnez. The Ba'alei HaTosfot, just to give you history, they're all descendants of Rashi HaKadosh, and those are the scholar people from Ashkenaz, that was from England, France, and Italy. Okay? In general, there was plus minus around 40, the main Ba'alei HaTosfot, the main 40 of them, and they explain, you know why you're not allowed to wear Shatnez? Why we not allowed to wear Shatnez? They say like this, משום שפרוכת בית המקדש הייתה עשויה מצמר ופשתים. That means that the curtain that was in בית המקדש, that we know that the Kohen Gadol used to sprinkle the blood on it. Okay, that parochet, that curtain used to be made from wool and linen. Therefore, the Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't want us to make a garment or to make a clothes in the image that the curtain used to make. And that can also explain, the Baalei HaTosfot also now can explain to us what the Rambam tried to tell us in Moreh Nevuchim, that Bechokotaim lo telechu. That means that the main idea that there are those that used to worship idols wear Shatnez, Tzemer and Pishtim, wool and linen. You know why they done it? Because they tried to copy the priest. They tried to copy anything that's holy. And that can explain to us that the Sitra Achra, what it means the Sitra Achra, I explained that number of times, that the power of the evil forces, okay, that's the side of the evil forces, all the time try to observe, try to suck from the holiness, from the Kedusha. That means that whatever they see, they try to copy from us. Now, we are the Kedusha, the Jewish people, Bet HaMikdash, the priests, all of us, we Kedoshim, that mean holy. The Goyim, the Gentile, that worship idols, they are from the other side, the side of the evil forces, the side of everything that's been contaminated. So how are they trying to get their power? How are they trying to get strength? By that they're trying to copy us and trying to be like us, trying to absorb the holiness from us. On a different level, okay, on a higher level for us to understand the concept of Shatnez, the Mefarshim explain, the Kabbalistic rabbi, the mystical rabbi explain like this. They explain, remember at the beginning of the show, I explained that Cain and Hevel. Cain, remember, he's the Pishtan. That means from the ground. Hevel was the tzemer, the wool. What is it work? Hazal tell us, the Kabbalistic rabbi tell us that the main reason that we're not allowed to wear wool and linen, because what happened? And that's what we learn, that Cain brought his offering. What is he brought? From the ground. That he didn't brought the best, it's a different issue. But Cain brought the offering. What is he brought the offering? It was from what he worked on the ground, the fruit, the vegetable, whatever it was, that he brought to say thank you to the Almighty. While Hevel, that was a shepherd, he brought from the best sheep that he had. He brought his offering that was the best sheep. And Hazal tell us that Cain, when I say Hazal, it's the mystical rabbi explain, that Cain absorbed all the evil forces on him. And when you mix wool and linen together, Hazal explained that Has v'Shalom, you actually bring in more energy, negative energy in the modern language, what people speak today. But if we speak about in Hazal's language, we actually given more power to the evil forces. And Has v'Shalom, a person that wear it, he can adopt the character trait of Cain, that is murder. So the main reason that Hazal tell us that you should not wear wool and linen, according to the mystical rabbi, it's because Has v'Shalom, that power, that energy that Cain have from the evil forces, that he managed to kill a human being, he was the first murderer. Has v'Shalom, if we wear that energy, Has v'Shalom can stuck on a human being, and he can adopt that character trait and can become a murderer. The mystical rabbi continue and say, if you take the word Semer, it's Tzadik Mem Resh, that's Semer. He said, take the acronym of that word Semer, Tzadik Mem Resh, you'll see that there is 3 special angels that represent those 3 angels that we're going to mention now, that they represent the character trait of mercy and compassion. And who they are? Number 1, Tzadik, it's Suriel. Mem is Michael. Resh is for the angel Raphael. Those 3 that create refuah in the world, that Michael is Sar Israel, that he's the minister of the Jewish people, always speaking good about the Jewish people, always giving the positive about the Jewish people, and etc. Those are the 3 angels that represent what? Mercy and compassion. And therefore, we're not allowed, Has v'Shalom, to mix these 2 together. The Metzudot David, it's a commentary that been wrote in the Tanakh, and his name is Rabbi David Altusher. Rabbi David Altusher, born in the city of Prague in the Czech Republic 334 years ago. By the way, he didn't finish to write his commentary on the Tanakh. His son, Rabbi Yehiel, he finished his commentary. Although that his father, Rabbi David, started most of the commentary, he wrote most of the commentary on the Tanakh, okay, but he didn't finish it because he passed away. Come the Metzudot David, and he explained like this, and he say, you know what's the problem? You know why we're not allowed to wear them? And he explained like this. He said that the pishtan, that the linen, that's from the Sitra Achra, from the evil forces. While if you take the tzemer that we mentioned earlier, like that the 3 names of the angel, that's come from the good forces. While we have negative forces, we have negative forces, we have good forces. That means 2 different energies. And by that you're mixing these 2 Has v'Shalom energies. By the way, just to add up, the Radbaz, Rabbi David ben Zimra, that born in Spain 542 years ago, he also wrote the same. He explained it the same, funny enough. And they both say that when you take these 2 character trait of mercy and compassion from one side, from the other side, the mercy, the character trait of judgment, and you put them together, sometimes there is a chance that maybe the character trait of judgment will overcome the character trait of mercy and compassion. And what does it mean? That Has v'Shalom, if you wear it, like the mystical Rabbi explained, that can bring on us the energy like Cain have, that's from the evil forces, from the darkness, that help, okay, to bring on a person the negative side of him. That means that we encouraging energy, bad energy, Has v'Shalom, to come on a human being. And that's the main reason that we're not allowed to wear wool and linen. So now that we understand what is wool and linen, what is wool, what is linen, that wool, remember, it has to be tzemer rechilim, not any other wool. It has to be from a sheep, and that's very important to remember. Now I'm going to give time to ask question. If anyone have, please unmute yourself and ask question.
Rav, I want to ask some questions, please.
Yes, Mark.
It's Mark. Number 1, does this law apply to women or only to men? Or to both?
Sorry?
Does this law of Shatnez apply to women?
Apply to everyone, men and women,
Everyone.
kids, everyone.
Okay, my
Yes.
next question is, if you don't mind, are you
That's why I'm
saying
here.
it mustn't be, the wool and linen mustn't be mixed in one garment? Or can it be more in more than one garment? For example, you wear a shirt of linen and pants of wool. Is that the Shatnez?
If it's 100%, yes, it's not allowed. How do we learn that? That we brought the Gemara. You remember they brought the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, in page 69, folio 1. What did they say? That even if there is 10 kariyot שמתחתיהם יש שעטנז, a person not allowed to sit on them. So that means that if you're wearing them together, you're mixing the forces together.
Okay, so it's not just weaving them together.
No, it's weaving them together, definitely weaving them.
Yeah, but if it's two separate garments,
But tell
you've
me,
got a
if you
shirt
have
of
a shirt,
linen, pants of
Yeah.
wool, it's also Shatnez. Sorry,
yeah.
one more question, if I may, is today are the clothes. When I was youngster, you had to take your pants and your jacket to be checked. Does that still apply today? Because I don't think they use linen in clothing anymore.
Okay, so
In the
I'll tell you what,
waistband of pants.
I'll tell you the truth. Today, most of the clothes, they from polyester. Most
No,
of
sorry,
the
what?
shirt polyester.
Polyester.
So you don't need to have them checked as
I
such.
didn't say, oh, wait. I say most of the clothes today, they're made from that. Now, if you look at the label, you can see how many percent, and they will tell you if there is any wool or if there is any linen. I don't know. You understand? So you have to look at the label on your shirt, on your jacket, on your trouser, or on your suit. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks, Rob.
Okay. Anyone for any other question?
So my question, I'm Anthony.
Hello, Anthony.
My question was all right, how are you? If one buys a jacket, should one take it to be checked? And where does one check it? Where does one go to check it?
Okay, so there is, you're talking about Johannesburg. In Johannesburg, there's different places that you can take it. If I'm not mistaken, there's a rabbi, Rabbi Levy. His name is Levy. We're not related. I think that Rabbi Levy lived above Shula Bakery. Above Shula Bakery. He lived there, so if you want to take to him. And I know that there's few, just Google it and you can see that there's few places, I think next to Or Sameach. Next to Or Sameach, there's another place there that check for Shatnez.
Okay, thanks very much.
Pleasure. Anyone for any other question? Louis, you want to ask question? Louis?
You answered Mark because I was going to bring it up. But you
question
answered Mark.
Okay.
No.
But another question. If you have any other question?
No.
No.
Let's make a comment.
Sure. Who's that? Dr. Les. How are you, Dr. Les?
It was with Reb Wasserman when he came to London together with Reb Moshe Steinbuch. They were on the bus.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Rav Wasserman stood up and he pointed that the seats were possibly Shatnez. So,
wow.
and you couldn't stand if you were on the bus. So the bus driver stopped the bus and said, "What are you doing?" And they actually had to leave the bus. They actually walked. He wouldn't sit on the seats. It's actually it's a true story with Reb Moshe Steinbuch and Rav Wasserman.
Sure. So here that, you know where they took the source? From the Gemara in Masechet Yoma.
Wow, hey?
You understand? 69.
What happens if but Rob, what happens if there's an aeroplane and you don't have the seat of the aeroplane or Shatnez?
That imagine flying from here to Israel for 9 hours standing up. Right?
That's an amazing story.
Major problem. It's a major problem. I don't think that today you'll find it because today most of the material, most of the stuff today made from polyester. Yeah. Those polyester material, it's very popular today. You know what I'm saying?
In those days,
to find Shatnez today, from what I understand, it's not so easy. It's not so common to find Shatnez materials. So really,
this was in the 30s. This was before the Shoah, when Reb Wasserman was still alive, before he went to.
That you're talking about 90 years ago. Yeah.
This was in the 30s. Yeah. So
they
didn't have. They had the real. No, that it was mamish.
But then they have all the time the real stuff. I remember when I was a little boy, I couldn't buy a trouser So it's very difficult to get trousers. So my father used to take me to a tailor, and I used to hate it. I used to hate it because the trouser always too tight or was too big. I remember the measure me, and every time after we used to get it, we used to go back again and used to alter it. It was a nightmare. And I'm a young boy compared to that. So you can imagine in the olden days when you used to buy material. And in those times, we didn't have China of today. You know, China today, everything is made from polyester. Some of the stuff even made from oil. And it's very, very catchy to fire. I mean, it's well known. I mean, you can see the quality of China.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all from Kong, you know what I'm saying? So we don't get a good quality today like we used to get in the olden days. But we have to remember that we have to be careful from Shatnez, you know, although all of that, we have to be very, very cautious, very careful that we're not wearing Shatnez.
Rav, just sorry, one other question.
Sure,
if you have a garment that's mixed with wool and polyester, does that cancel the Shatnez? If you have a mixture of wool, polyester, and linen?
Wow, so you mean three together?
Yeah.
I tell you where
does that negate the Shatnez, or it's still Shatnez?
Oh, definitely Shatnez. But there is one other problem. To find such a mixture like that, usually it's unheard of, because usually what do they use? If you use, let's say, linen, for example, where do you find the wool? Usually you find the wool on a string when you stitch it. And just remember that wool have to be from a wool, what we call tzemer achilim, a sheep wool. It's it's uncommon today because it's become so expensive. It's become really costly. It's ineffective to make clothes from that. Only if there's people that really insist to get this kind of clothes, this kind of material. Let's say the right word. You know, but again. I see a comment from a cousin. She sent me in Hebrew that today she said that you can find it on a coat. When you wear a coat, there's certain coat, okay, that they can mix wool and linen. She just sent me a message because she's listening to our show. Thank you, Tsuriti. She said that there is still today certain coat that been made. Obviously, that's for the cold countries, that they can be mixed, wool and linen, that made from sheep wool. So you see here, there is some. I didn't know even there is, because we're living in a very warm country, so we usually don't need those kind of clothes. We're not geared for it. Any other question, Rabotai? Maybe I missed something. Anyone want to ask? No. So, okay, Rabotai, I would like to take the opportunity, first of all, to thank all of you, to thank again to Tsuriti. Thank you for joining us. And Rabotai, just remember, Thursday night, we'll have a show on Parashat HaShavua. Please God, again, through the Pardes, Pshat Remes Drash Sod, like I saw that you enjoy. So we'll try to bring again the Parashat HaShavua in that level, and to take the opportunity to wish all of you, keep safe, keep well. The number of the epidemic here starting to raise, as you saw, as the advertising. So please be careful. The Hatzalah mentioned in number 30, that there's 30 people that have been infected, that have been found positive. But I'd also try to be safe, try to keep yourself. If it's not necessary, stay far away from people. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have the mercy on us and compassion, and will get rid of that kind of a virus from us, from all over the world, and send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon. All the best.
Okay, Rav. Thank you, Rav. All the best. Have a good week.
Have a good night. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye-bye. Enjoy the evening.